We got a jam-packed show here on Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Jerry's latest comments on Micah Parsons that'll make your head scratch. Justin Fields struggling a little bit at Jets training camp. We'll get you caught up on what's going on there and what is going on with Matthew Stafford. Some mixed reporting about how serious his back injury could be. We'll dive into all of these stories here on today's show. But let's start with the Cowboys. Jerry sounds off once again about the contract discussions, the situation with Micah Parsons, a couple different angles here. So he was first asked, are you confident that Micah will play in week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles? He said, no, absolutely not. A big part of that is his decision. How would I know that? Which I guess comes on the heels of he and Micah have not talked since the trade request came late last week. He was also asked, are you urgent right now? And he said, I'm always urgent. And you just listen to Jerry talk, and it just feels like he's lost his fastball, doesn't it? And look, people get old. Grandparents, we all have family members that are like, yeah, you don't quite move at the same speed that you once did. It's a little late career Al Davis-esque, and this has been slipping for years for Jerry, and he's always been a wild card, but now it just feels like he's kind of lost the plot with some of this stuff. Also, this tweet from around the NFL, some NFL Network reporting that Jerry has not talked to Micah since the trade request, and no one from the Cowboys organization has contacted Parsons' agent, David Mulgheta, and listen, you're going to have to deal with the agent to get a contract done. Clarence Hill, who's covered the Cowboys for a while, said, kind of just tweeted this situation out, a quote from Jerry, we'll work through it or we won't work through it. It's like, oh, okay, Jerry. And then Jerry went on this huge tangent, and I'm just kind of getting a paraphrase tweet here from Pro Football Talk, saying that he had a handshake agreement with Micah Parsons, and he went on this whole spiel about, when I bought the Dallas Cowboys, I had a handshake deal, about 30 seconds, and we worked out the details later. And it's like, Jerry, that was in 1989. Like, I appreciate being an old school guy. Like, a handshake means something. I understand. But, like, the agent hadn't been involved yet. In 2025, you have to deal with the agent. I appreciate old school tendencies. I like coaches who are a little bit old school. But you have to mesh old school with new. This isn't old school. This is just old. And Jerry's just old. It's like, you're not going to get a contract signed with Micah Parsons without communication with David Mulgheta, one of the biggest agents in the game, perhaps the biggest one in 2025. It's just, I don't know what planet you're living on. Well, in the 90s, I just talked to Deion Sanders. I didn't talk to his agent. It's like, dude, that was 30 years ago. It's just a different world. It's a different amount of money. There's different factors. And look, maybe he feels a little blindsided by Micah. That's certainly possible, but it's like, sorry, man, until ink's on paper, a handshake agreement, that doesn't mean jack shit. That's just how it is. And it's a lesson for anybody watching, by the way, in the business world and anything you do in life. If you're negotiating for a new job, if you're trying to buy a house, until that ink is on the paper, it's a verbal agreement is nothing in today's world. And maybe that's kind of frustrating, like your word should mean something. I get all that, but you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars on the line here. It's just things change, and until you get the deal, on paper and sent to the league, it's not done. So Jerry's got to wake up. Someone in that building has got to check him into reality, and that's a tough spot because Jerry runs the show. And, it seems like this thing is pretty ugly right now. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if a trade is going to happen. It seems like that's a non-starter. Could Micah kind of do what Chris Jones did a couple years ago, just sit out the opener to show how serious he is? And maybe the resolution is not a long-term extension, but they just give him a huge pay raise this year and, let him hit the market next year. That seems like a bad idea, though. You'd be better off trading him, getting stuff back. But this situation is not ending anytime soon, it would appear, as there's not even any communication with each other going on. It's all happening through the media at this point. What will the Cowboys do with Micah Parsons? Will they pay him or will they trade him? Type P for pay, T for trade, or type nothing. I guess they could just say, "Oh, you're under contract," but I don't expect him to play with his fifth-year option money this year. All right, coming up in a second, Justin Fields is struggling at training camp over the last several days. Is it a cause for concern for Jets fans? I'll get into that. But before we do that, we are covering all things NFL right now, training camp news, updates, contract situations. We'll get into some preseason reaction as well, some preseason takeaways, winners and losers. Games ramp up tomorrow night, so we'll have something for you guys later in the weekend or early next week. I'll continue my divisional preview series. If you haven't subscribed already, do so. Go to the content tab. We've done the AFC South and the NFC South. So if you want to go check out those division previews for those 8 teams, we got you covered. College football is around the corner. I'm going to have my preseason top 25 come out soon, and I'll have my playoff prediction, 12-team playoff prediction. It's all coming up. It's all of that and more. Let's get to 11,000 subscribers. The 4 Verts gang is the realest one. Come join the movement. Okay, is Fields in a funk? And he's really struggled as a passer the last few days at training camp. Now, these are stats compiled by SNY's Connor Hughes, and always take training camp stats with a grain of salt for a couple reasons. One, there's a lot of context that gets lost in camp. Is this a combination of 7-on-7? Is this just team drills? Coaches will tell you that things that reporters are watching aren't necessarily what they think they're watching, but 2 for 10 3 days ago, 4 for 16 2 days ago, 9 for 17 with 2 picks yesterday. I think they're off today. 15 of 43 passing, 2 interceptions the last 3 days. That's a problem. That is a problem. I will say this, having covered the Bears for several years now, Fields is not really a shorts and t-shirt quarterback. He's not going to put on a clinic in 7-on-7. Why? Because he's not a great NFL passing quarterback. He doesn't throw with great anticipation. At times, he struggles to get through reads. Doesn't mean you can't have a decent team with him. We saw last year the Steelers were 4-2 with him at the helm. I think that's their best path of success if you're a Jets fan. Play like he did last year. What did he do with the Steelers? He took care of the ball. He had 10 total touchdowns and 1 pick. I think maybe 1 fumble in 6 games. That was a big improvement from Chicago when he was a turnover machine. He can generate big plays with his legs, occasionally a big play with his arm, and just play game control, run the football. You have to have a good defense too if he's your quarterback. And I think the Jets defense is going to be pretty good. So we kind of know what a Justin Fields-led team must be at this point. It's not going to be a high-octane passing attack. In fact, if you told me right now, what's more likely? The Jets have the worst passing game in the NFL or a top 25 one? I'd probably say the worst. But if they can be one of the best rushing attacks, play defense, win the turnover battle, just kind of old-school 1980s football, you can grind out some games with them. You're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're probably not even going to be a playoff team. But I've thought all along this will be a scrappy 7-ish type of win team. Build this roster, build this culture until you get the long-term answer at quarterback. Because I think it's safe to say it would be pretty surprising at this point if Fields was the next reclamation project. Like, is he going to be the next Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield? I just don't think he is advanced enough as a passer. He has a good enough arm talent, but he's got a slow release. He doesn't process that well. He's kind of read 1, read 2, take off. He's not ever going to be a guy who can consistently get through several reads. So you got to lean into what he can do, and if the Jets do that, they'll have a chance. If they don't, it's going to be ugly. So we'll see how it goes this season for Justin in New York. Okay, the latest on Matt Stafford, some new updates regarding his back as he is dealing with a disc issue in his back. He got an epidural for pain relief, and I didn't even know that epidurals were actually that common. Just the only reason I know it for is my wife got one for labor. That's the only time I've ever actually heard of an epidural being used. Clearly, I'm not in the medical profession, so there's that. But Ian Rapoport had the note of that he received an epidural to help deal with it. The Rams have called him week to week, being cautious, but plans for him to be ready for week 1. Jesse Morse, who's kind of a sports medical doctor on social media, decent follow. He has good scoops. Pro Football Doc's another good one as well. He said that Stafford diagnosed with a herniated disc, which I don't know if that's the actual diagnosis, but some kind of disc issue. He says that an epidural is just like a cortisone shot. It's just pain relief to calm down the nerve. It's not really a long-term solution. He said it doesn't do the truly important thing to solve the problem, which is to stabilize the back, re-strengthen the ligaments connecting the lumbar spine to hips and sacrum. So it's temporary at best. Huge red flag. He says. More on that in a second. I do want to get to this, though, from Florio because he had another report. He said the week-to-week absence of Stafford will soon be ending. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, Stafford is on track to resume working out this week. He's expected to do some on-field work in the coming days. So this is kind of all over the map. Rapoport says, yeah, he got an epidural week to week. They're hopeful for week 1. Medical doctor says this is a temporary solution, huge red flag. Kind of sounds like a Band-Aid that he's just going to have to kind of work throughout the season and try to stay upright. And Florio has a source that says he's going to be back soon, basically saying he's day-to-day. It feels like this is a story that's going to linger. Like you're going to hear about this through the season where Stafford's having back pain. And look, the good news is if you're the Rams is you don't really need him to practice much. He's been around. He knows the offense. Devontae is very QB friendly. He's played with a quarterback very similar to Stafford's skill set for a long time in Aaron Rodgers, so I don't think that's going to be a major problem. Him and Nakua have a good thing going. He just may not practice much this year, and they might have to shoot him up for game days, kind of Brett Favre style back in the day, and just get through those Sundays. Like that just might be what this is this year. I said it on a video a week or two ago that they're thinking about February. They're not thinking about August. So it might be a grind to get through this season. He may not practice much, but if he's out there and playing on Sundays and he's kept upright, I like his chances. Now, the one thing that concerns me is, here comes insert elite pass rusher who cracks him in the back. Like, is that going to be an issue? We know Stafford sticks in there and takes hits, so it'll be interesting to see how willing he is to do that at his advanced age this year and dealing with that back issue. But if he's upright, I think he'll play well, but I think it's going to be a thing that probably lingers throughout the season. Back issues don't really go away, especially if a procedure is needed, which I don't know if that's the case, but if it is a herniated disc, typically you need a procedure to get that cleaned up. So it sounds like they may push that off to the offseason. All right, what is your concern level with Matt Stafford's back injury? Scale it from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being very. Probably go like 6 now. I think he'll play, he'll get through it, but he's going to be in pain, and if he takes a few big hits back there, that could be a challenge. All right, that'll do it for today's episode of Four Verts. A lot of things going on at training camp. Preseason football games tomorrow through Sunday, so that's exciting. Get to expand the palette a little bit and see what's going on with these different teams. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow with another episode, so stay tuned.